going to be the Hunter here versus the Rogue. So Alchemixt choosing the Hunter into the Miracle Rogue. Now, I mean, this is interesting. You know, he does have the Zoo Lock as his other choice, and you know, you didn't really like that matchup. So it seems like this is kind of his only choice.
Well, again, sort of what we were talking about earlier. Face Hunter is very different from the mid-range Hunter decks.
For sure.
The Miracle Rogues shine against these mid-range Hunter decks, but this is not what he's going to be facing off against. He knows that his opponent's going to be playing charge. Again, he's on his team. He knows that Alchemist favors aggressive decks, and that was shown in his mulligan. He actually mulliganed away a Gadgetzan Auctioneer because against Face Hunter, it's frankly not that important. Earth and Ring Farseer is his most important card. He's got two of them in his hand already.
Yeah. Alchemist does not seem to be able to buy a break today, man.
Yeah, sometimes you just get really unlucky the whole way through, but
it's a little bit.
I don't mind seeing a coin into an Earth and Ring Farseer here. And that Shadow
like
Step,
that play.
Another really critical draw is that Shadow Step, and he's going to start applying pressure right away with this.
Yeah, the Eagle Form Bow coming out is very nice. Going to be able to take that out immediately.
Now, here's where a really big decision comes in from Alchemix, is which direction does he want to take this game? He's already seen an Earth and Ring Farseer, so he knows he's under a little bit of potential pressure. So does he choose to go with his bow, or does he choose to go with his minions?
Okay.
So, and then from there you see a few more sub-plays. Making the Huffer is good, but at the same time, there's a direct answer to it sitting on the board.
Yeah, definitely is. But at least it wasn't a Leok, you know? If Leok came out, that would have been really sad.
There's a second Earth Ring Farseer, and this is like an eye roll spot where you're like, come on, man, this is supposed to be a good matchup. You drew both your Earth Ring Farseers. This is so critical, and I like his attacking this Earth Ring Farseer here because what this does is it shuts off future potential Shadow Steps.
No more Shadow Steps, right. No more heals. You know that's all the heals that are in the deck. So he is back 29 HP, but at least that's all you have to get through. There's not going to be any more additionally. Now, going to be dropping the Fan of Knives here, just seeing what he can fish up. He's going to grab an SI agent for himself. And he seems to be having most of his kind of early minions having some board presence, which we've seen is very effective against the Hunters.
Right. At this point, I'm not actually even sure you drop a trap, honestly.
Okay. I guess he can kind of pick and choose what he plays into it.
Right. So in this spot now, he drops this trap, but there's nothing that's going to check for it now. So if it's snipe, he doesn't really care. He doesn't have another option around this. He obviously wants to develop the Azure Drake before he develops his Auctioneer, in case it's something like snipe. But now
you go with the I mean, it's 2 deadly shots. Do you deadly shot, or do you just let it try to hit? Because if you don't, he can just dagger and check. So I feel like you have to.
Right. I like going with the deadly shot here, even though it's 4 points of damage. What's more important is that he's stemming the amount of damage coming from him. Because as we sort of touched on earlier, this game, the Hunter has a lower critical mass than the Rogue has. So if you give Rogue a few extra points of damage, they're able to combat you on this. But if you shut off that potential, your hero power does a lot more damage than their hero power, and that's the difference maker.
Now, real question, do you deadly shot this?
That's an interesting story. I'm not sure you can deadly shot it, but I'm not opposed to deadly shotting it. Again, Gadgetzan Auctioneer isn't a really big concern in this matchup.
And flaring. I mean, we've seen how, you know, in previous matchups, you talked about how flare is so effective against conceal, but we saw it used a turn before conceal.
Right.
So now he obviously he's thinking about it. He kind of moused over it. Do you think that's too risky?
I don't think it's too risky. Flare can have an impact in this matchup. Actually, at Fight Night, Chalky ripped a Flare versus Reels to unstealth a Gadgetzan Auctioneer and ended up winning the game on the back of that.
Yeah.
But it's not like a huge thing in this matchup. Okay. He doesn't need to use it at all right now. That's why he's going to save it, because what card does he draw that changes his play? And the answer is, I don't think there is one.
Now, I mean, this is kind of smart though, because at least if he checks with the dagger, he hits the 3/3 and then dies to Explosive Trap. But if he checks with this, then at least he's going to get 3 to the face.
Right. And he's also getting 2 more from the Explosive Trap, plus the charges on the bow at this point. This is where Hunter sees its edge, is when it's able to get a bow and develop these traps. This is a major edge now coming in for Alchemix. This is 5 more damage coming to the face, and then 6 more damage attached to that bow. Both Earth and Ring Farseers are gone, and you have 2 Shadow Steps, but you don't have another threat of Leroy outside of that. So,
and I think Kitkatz handled that correctly by not doing it the other way around.
I agree.
But still, I think that forcing him into that situation by dropping the second trap was extremely intelligent by Alchemist.
Right. I'm kind of curious why he doesn't actually use Deadly Poison here. You've seen a misdirection go away. You could have Deadly Poisoned and dealt 5 damage to your opponent's face.
Yeah, here comes the Unleash now.
Yeah, and this may just be a loss of focus. And maybe he's, oh my gosh, and Leroy comes in the hand as well.
Now, what do you think? Do you just Timberwolf and just go face, or do you Hunter's Mark and clear? Okay, so he's going Hunter's Mark.
I don't mind Hunter's Mark and clearing. I also don't mind Timberwolf and going to the face.
Yeah, because if he Timberwolf and goes face, I mean, he can do his hero power, so he can do 5 plus an additional 4, so he can do 9. He can put him at 9 HP right now, have 2 more bow charges, Leroy plus his hero power next turn, so that would put him at 1 HP. He would only have to draw 1 damage if he just goes face. So I think going face here is actually right.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. So if you're going to go all in, you go all in this turn.
He should Timberwolf for sure.
But if you don't develop this trap, again, as we saw last game, out of nowhere, 2 Cold Bloods and a Leroy came out. So it's got to be weighing on his mind at this point.
He's going to clear.
So it is weighing on his mind. His other option was if he wanted to clear one of the minions, and then just use the bow charge to attack one of the other minions, but that's sort of reversing the race at that point. You're paying 3 health to kill a minion as opposed to reserving your life total. So I really like using the hero power here instead of developing this misdirection because you don't want to let your opponent know that you have another trap. If you play this misdirection, all that happens is he attacks your face and it can go into this buzzard. And then other than that, what does the trap really do?
Yeah.
But in this spot, he could represent snipe with this trap.
Yeah,
because Kitkatz is aware that it's going to be somewhere in his list. And this might be one of those spots that we were talking about earlier where he might have to make some sort of crazy play and bluff his opponent. I'm very surprised he chose to not attack with the bow, though. I'm curious what his thought process is here, because this is the second time he's saved it 2 charges.
Did he not attack with the bow?
Did he attack with the bow? No, I apologize. He did attack with the bow.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, what?
I just saw it at 2 charges. I forgot it. 2
more.
2 traps procced at one time, yeah. So
he did do that. That would have been a huge mistake, in my opinion.
Yeah, he did attack with the bow.
The one sad part about this, though, is, I mean, you don't really get any benefit from your Timberwolf now. That's the part that you're kind of giving up without going face.
Right.
I mean, you have to be nervous, but you're not getting the buff damage really because there's nothing else that can help. And now, seeing this down, I mean, you got to get a little bit nervous.
You do, but at the same time, he's got Leroy in his hand. Yeah. He's got 3 points of damage from this bow, and he's got 2 more on his hero power. So he's very close. To draw a little bit. He's very close to lethal as it stands. Something as simple as like an arcane shot would finish this game if he doesn't have it in his deck, but Stone Tusk Board would do the same.
Kill command, that's
Kill command, and that's going to do it. So this is going to be game over to Alchemixt. He's able to even this series 1-1, even despite the 2 Earthen Ring Farseer draws from Kitkatz. So big plays here from Alchemixt, recognizing these lethal opportunities. I like clearing the board because it prevents any crazy shenanigans from happening.
Yeah, worked out for sure.
He had enough damage to kill him. He didn't need to extend his damage any further. So both Earthen Ring Farseers, again, they're out of the way. He knows what the remaining list is.